All right, everybody. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Verbal Garbage. We're coming at you hot and live. Today, we're doing another episode with a total and complete stranger. We got Frannie on the line. Frannie, if you don't mind, tell the people a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what you do.
Well, I am a dog walker. Okay. Pharmacist originally, but I do not enjoy selling drugs anymore. So
was there any, if you don't mind me asking, was there any specific moment that led to the change, or was it just a buildup of certain years, just kind of growing intolerant? And
yeah, 15 years of people getting pissed off at the pharmacy counter.
Yep.
And I hate making the little march over to the counter that says, "I'm sorry, but your Vicodin is too soon to refill. You have to wait a few more days."
Oh my gosh. I
don't like saying that.
I don't even know. I literally you just brought that up, and as crazy as it sounds, that's something I don't even think about, is the people that become so dependent. They just become different people, and then they want to lash out on the face, and you happen to be that person. So did you go to school for that, or how did you originally get into it?
I'm actually from Canada, and I went to the University of Toronto in Ontario, Canada.
Wow.
Yeah. And
raised there?
Well, in Elliott Lake, Ontario, a uranium mining place is where I come from. And then I wanted to come down to the United States. I was trying to get down to California, and it didn't really work out to get down to California because they have so much more bureaucracy involved in pharmacy in California.
Sure.
So I was like, I'm going to try out Seattle. And I got a job in Seattle. This was in 2002. I put all my possessions in my car and I drove across Canada, and then I drove into the United States, and I stayed at the first hotel. I had all my possessions there. I stayed at the first hotel I saw, which was the Marriott in Seattle, which was a nice hotel. And then I bought a newspaper and I found a place to live, and I started working at Walgreens.
That is incredible. I honestly I have such a respect for people that have the courage to be able to pick up their things and just go and try something. I've never been that adventurous type. And I always wonder what it takes to make that kind of leap,
Well, you're still young though. You could still do it. Even if you're old, you can 30, still do it.
I feel like the young jokes, like the young comments, I'm like, okay, they don't really count anymore. I know it's nice, but
okay, got you.
30's kind of that borderline there where
I guess I don't know. I'm 48, but I still view myself as a kid. I really do. And I think I act one in a lot of ways.
And I like that. Like right away when we were interacting, I was like, I just like the energy, and I'm someone who's always going to keep my energy and my spunk. But just going back to your leap now, when you first settled there in the hotel, what'd you say it was, a Marriott?
Yeah, it was Marriott at exit 167.
Why not a Best Western, Frannie? Come on.
Well, because I didn't see a Best Western. I was really
It was literally
scared.
You pulled in and you saw the first thing you saw. You went there.
Was Marriott.
Talk about spontaneity, huh?
I know. Well, because you see that in 2002, there weren't cell phones like there are now. So I didn't have a cell phone.
That's the year this was, 2002. What's up, guys? You've heard me talk about out-of-body experiences, a little mushroom trip, a little bong pack here and there. Well, luckily for you, you can now experience these legally. Astral Projection and Lucid Dreaming by Vince Field is a book out where you can read and delve more into the world of out-of-body experiences and lucid dreaming. Vince has got 20 years experience of doing these crazy, wild things that I have to take mushrooms or smoke 4,000 bong packs of to experience. Meanwhile, my boy uses his mind and his thoughts to take him to dimensions and planets never seen before in person by humans. Check it out on Amazon if you're interested. It's definitely something I'd enjoyed. Astral Projection and Lucid Dreaming by Vince Field. Check it out now.
This was in 2002, January of 2002. I didn't have a cell phone. When I drove across Canada, I just had little calling cards so that when I went into another city, I'd call my mom and dad and say,
you were reading a map, weren't you?
I was reading a map.
That is something that I'm so fascinated by, because that is such a lost art. And I have no clue. I've never had to really do it. Even when I drive now, I'll look at signs and be like, cool. You just plug things in your phone. You get so numb to it. I was a kid growing up, my friends' parents would drop me off from football practice, and they're like, so how do I get out of your neighborhood? And be like, good luck. And my neighborhood wasn't a big neighborhood, but I was just never good with the sense of direction. So I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I have
no sense of direction myself. If I'm looking at the map, I can figure it out with the map, but I have a really hard time with north, south, east, west, left, right. I'm just really bad.
Get me started on that. So did that would you just look at the map and look incrementally and see a sign, 40 or whatever? whatever the road
It
was.
was
You just look
really
for that
easy because I was just driving on the Trans-Canada Highway.
wow.
So it was pretty easy. I just drove across Canada on the Trans-Canada Highway. And then when you get into Washington State, it's all I-5 down to Mexico.
Wow.
So you can't really go too wrong. But yeah, I remember different places I went into, and I was really scared at the time. When I first came to the US and when I got my apartment, because I looked for an apartment after I got to the Marriott. And the first night I was like, with all my possessions, I was like, oh my God, I'm in the United States now. This is really crazy. I'm in the United States. I'm not visiting the United States. I have like all my possessions in the United States. And I was like, is this a good idea? I don't know.
No turning back now.
Right.
You didn't know anybody, right? You didn't have any family, nothing.
Nothing.
What was, did you do anything at first other than a job to like go out and, I know it sounds like kind of weird, but like any activities, like you seem like a pretty spontaneous person, anything to try to meet some people around you or?
Well, I did meet my neighbors. I remember being extremely into couponing because in Canada.
Hell yeah. That's how I was raised, baby. Extreme couponers.
Right. Because like in Canada, they didn't have those little clip coupons really. And so I got really excited about the brand name stuff.
That's the American dream.
Let me know if my dog's panting is making too much noise. I have a pug. And he goes and he licks the furniture and he pants. So it's like.
You ever try any of that little like
I should get some of the spray.
I was wondering about that. Did you ever have any success with that? Because back when my dog was a puppy, we'd have like these weird flavored sprays you'd spray on like certain parts of furniture so it wouldn't eat it. But I don't know. Have you ever had luck with any of that kind of shit?
I've never tried it. And I think he's really only into licking the furniture now because he's on a special dog food for his allergies. And
so you have to switch it up pretty regularly, or is that the first time you've had to do it?
Well, I've had to do it before. And he just does not like the dog food as much, but his ears are not as itchy and he's a lot better.
You know,
with it, so,
I hate to say it, but how my brain works, just so many random thoughts and some, this is, I mean, if you don't find this funny, I'm sorry, but my mom, like we consider her like a little bit of a hoarder. I'll be honest, like not to the A&E levels you're seeing on TV with like nasty shit, but it's like, I buy a bottle of bourbon or something. She sees it and she thinks it's cool. Like speaking of which, she just found this bottle, which I'm never going to drink it. Like I'm a little bit of a whiskey snob, but it's this stuff. I'm from South Jersey, right near Philly. But she's like, oh, I thought you'd like the bottle. So like constantly hoarding different bottles and stuff and food and all that kind of stuff. So there was a while back where she went and got like dog food that was expired because it was a little bit cheaper. You know, my brother's like, I don't want to, you know, supposedly there's nothing wrong with it, but just like, I think it was going to expire in the next coming months. So they couldn't sell it. I don't know. I'm not right. But she fucking took the dog food and put it in the freezer, marking it dog food, do not touch. Cause she was scared my dad was going to eat it.
Oh man. Well, hopefully your dad has better taste though, that he would be like, this is not too good.
I mean, I don't know what like my mom was thinking that he would mistake, like what is frozen Cocoa Puffs? And even my dad wouldn't eat that. So I'm like, I don't know what the thought process behind it was. When you said that, I just made me think of it. So
my mother is the opposite of your mother. My mother is an extreme declutterer, actually. She reads all these things about you should only own 100 possessions. And she's all into that. And so she sometimes gets into it with my dad because she's got like an inventory of all her possessions and she wants to get rid of them. And they were looking at this little spatula for flipping burgers or something in the
all the varieties of those, baby. Come on.
Well, that's what my dad said, but my mom said shouldn't be one of my 100 possessions. We need to declutter this. And he had to draw the line and he said, no, this is my favorite little burger flipper. And sorry, but she is an extreme declutterer.
Well, and I'm like, I battle both the swords on that one. You know what I mean? Cause I got a little bit of devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other one. But I was going to say, shout out to your dad for like, I'm someone who cooks, but the men cooking, I know it's on the rise lately, but it's not something that's very common. So if he wants to keep a spatula and provide mommy with a burger,
he does a lot of cooking. He does a lot of cooking. So and you know how it is. You get a comfort
zone with certain pots, pans, spatulas. Like I'm
true that, right?
So, shit. Right when you just brought something up. Oh, when you were saying like decluttering and stuff like that. I'm getting ready to go back to my home state of New Jersey. That's where I'm originally from, to go hang out with my sister, my niece, my nephews. My other sister's going to be there, and I'm what we would call like a serial overpacker, right? Like they're going to have 2 different houses I'll be staying at with laundry and all that, but I still feel this crazy need to pack so much when I'm going there for 4 or 5 days, but how are you with that? Are you usually overpacking a lot? You usually keeping it slim? Like obviously you were able to pack with nothing. So
I underpack.
I was going to say anyone that can hit the road like you're just built different.
But Noelle, I don't think it's a positive thing that I underpack though, because I also, I really want to be higher maintenance, and I'm always working on being higher maintenance because
you should really go in the opposite, because I'm like so high maintenance. You've heard my podcast, listen to my passionate pleas about the days. Like I can't even go into a public bathroom, and I got my mom one for Mother's Day, right? And her and my dad haven't installed it 2 months later. I'm like, you literally have until Monday, or I'm taking it, I'm giving it to my boss. So I'm like, if you're kind of low maintenance, you should stay in that realm, because I'm telling you, when you get to my point when you're this little prima donna, it's a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing is that I need to be higher maintenance, like maybe to get my nails done, maybe a pedicure, that kind of thing. A little higher maintenance than that, right? So
I think I got you beat there, Frannie.
You know? I think you do.
Is it something you just been nervous? Like there's so many guys that make fun of me for, like, a lot of my jiu-jitsu buddies, like, you really gonna do that? I'm like, dude, I literally go, I get high and sit in a chair, and I get someone massaging my feet, doing my nails on my feet. Like it is an amazing.
Good for you.
Oh, it's amazing. And I'm like, you're doing that, the martial arts with other dudes, and you see some of their crusty feet with holes in them in the bottom and shit. It makes me fucking sick. I'm like, yo, take care of that shit. So it's not like,
for sure.
I mean, nervous about people looking at your feet, or what is
no, I just, it's not something I've wanted to spend money on lately, but it's actually pretty worth it, especially being a dog walker. Like I'd like to be able to wear nice sandals and stuff.
I've been wearing. You can walk the dogs with the dogs out, girl. You know?
Yeah, I know. The little tootsies out, right?
Like, hell yeah. My brother's girlfriend, she's always got her nails and her toenails just styled up to the 10s. And I'm like, she's got the crazy designs, the different colors. I'm like, it just adds such a pop. Yeah. Come on.
It just looks nice, doesn't it? It looks nice.
I tell you what, you go and get your first pedicure, and then you come on here and we have a little recap.
Oh, that's a good idea, actually.
That's the way I'm thinking. I'm like, just any little weird kind of thing to get me going.
Yeah, talk about how the pedicure went, right?
Oh, like, because I haven't got one in a while, and I'm like, there's such a thing that people don't take advantage of enough. I mean, you know that feeling when you're laying in your bed and like the bottoms of your feet are getting like caught on the sheets because they're crusted up. I'm like, who the frick wants to do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've got to do that, right? I've got to live a little bit and get those toenails. I've also got to get my hair dyed again.
Hair dyed? Were you starting to switch it up a little bit? Or?
Well, I have, my hair is dyed, but it's getting the roots are growing in.
Okay. Are you bad? Don't mind me. Like, are you bad on the incoming grays? Is that a fear of yours? You embrace it?
I definitely don't want grays.
Oh, okay.
I do not want grays, because I went, the time before the last time I got my pedicure, I was sitting there. You have
got one before?
Right? Oh yeah, I've gotten them. It's just,
I thought it was literally going to be the first time ever. I was like, oh shit.
Oh, no. These toes definitely need pedicures.
They do, especially you're abusing the hell out of them puppies.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. So I went to the salon though for the pedicure, not last time, but the time before. And the lady said to me, she pointed to me and she said, grandma. And then she pointed to my sister and says, daughter. And then she pointed to my niece. And that's what I was thinking, right? But it just gave me such a complex, because then I was like, okay, before I even came back from my trip, because it was on a trip, I had made a hair dyeing appointment, and it was the gray hair. The gray hair, people assume, they look right at the gray hair. And it's like, my sister dyes her hair, so they assumed that was my daughter. And people shouldn't make those inferences.
No, 100%.
Right.
Yeah, it's just, I went to high school with a guy who was literally starting to get gray hairs coming out of him when he was in like 8th grade. And it's just like, my one sister, she started getting them. She's, I think, oh my God, I don't want to get in trouble. I'm not going to guess what. She started getting some gray hairs, and she just fully embraced it and went full silver fox on them. And I think it looks great.
People like that. People like,
the only reason, I'm going bald, you know, and I have no problem. Like, I shave my head every 2 days. The only reason I'm wearing a hat right now is because I've been riding a bike, and I've been wearing those little headbands, and I got this awful like tan line of a headband, and I'm just like, yo, I'm just wearing a hat to cover that up right now. But I'm usually going there, and I try to convince other dudes. I'm like, dude, if you're losing it, just embrace it. You know what I mean?
I love that. You'll
see guys that have hairlines that are like here, and they're still wearing it. I'm like, it's just over. Like, I'm thin right here and right here, and I'm like, it's over. You know, I still have hair all over, but I'm like,
though.
Like, I don't try to grow it back anymore. I'm just like, it's fine. I shave it. So I'm not like dissing you for hiding up the grays. It's just a natural thing. And at first I was trying to grow it, and I'm like, it's fine. It's whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, no, no, totally, totally. I'm all for it. And I think society and aging is a little bit easier on men than it is on women.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
And so I think maybe that's what hits me really hard because it's
Sure.
a whole self-identity thing.
Well, no,
But I know
I was gonna
guys
say I
have their
understand,
things
but I
too,
don't,
right?
you know.
Yeah.
But no, that
So
the hair thing is definitely a huge thing with guys, and I get it. Like I had long hair 6 years ago, you know, down looking like a total goofball, but I just want to see
mhm.
if I could ever actually do it. And then I just realized there was so much maintenance. I cut it, and then the bald head just feels so good. And like I said, I have no shame
Right.
about it. I shave my head every other day. The tan line right now is disgusting.
Well, people probably with bald head, they probably take you more seriously because you might be a little bit bad, right? With the bald, you like,
I'm a bad dude. I bark. I'm
right.
one of them Dobermans that you be walking on them dog
Yeah.
walks, you know?
You're no chihuahua.
No,
Chihuahuas bark a lot too,
oh
but
my
chihuahuas
gosh.
are little,
I'm
right?
like me, I'm all
But
bark, no bite. Like truly, I'm someone like I'll do anything to avoid a confrontation. Like if it's a little verbal spat, like I've been talking about that recently about how the job I'm doing, I'm representing them
yeah.
right now actually, but I didn't even realize Snap On, where I'm going and selling tools to just different mechanics at different shops, you know, and
Yeah.
I hate stereotyping, but that industry, those guys can definitely be a little rough around the edges. And it's just a constant war of them just coming at me, bitching about
Mm,
shipping times and prices and all that kind of stuff. And I've been finding recently, anytime I kind of bark back at the big dogs, they get
yeah.
all mad at me. And I'm like, I'm just trying to give this, like, I tell people, I keep saying that thing, but I match the energy. If you want to come on and be super rude to me, I'm going to take it for a while, but then eventually I got to stand up. And I mean, I'm sure that's
Yeah.
something you were starting to deal with, albeit junkies in your field, unfortunately.
Well, yeah. And see, the thing is that really you're supposed to be the better person. And the
Yeah.
thing is that
Such a battle.
sometimes I can't be the better
No,
person.
I have my moments too
I,
where I'm like,
yeah.
and I hate saying, oh, you know, you're better than that person. But a lot of times, like, I feel like I am just as far as
Right.
like a professionalism level. And then you
Yeah.
stoop down and get to their level. And I'm like, but
Yeah.
on the other hand, like, if you're taking it so much, and what I try to relay to some of these people is like, I'm going to between, I mean, my Mondays are kind of light, but and Fridays, but on
Yeah.
Tuesday,
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday, I'm hitting between 30 and 45 shops. And I'm getting that energy from all, you know, so it just is a spiral effect. And I'm just trying,
Right.
like, I'm trying my best to keep a level head. But when I kept getting that energy thrown at me, I'm like, I'm trying my best to, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Especially when you're selling stuff.
It's very stressful, isn't it? Now, is it adhesives that you're selling?
No, it's full blown like ratchets, sockets, screwdrivers, power tools,
Oh, like hard,
floor
like stuff.
jack. Like
Yeah. Like
I got to
hardware.
take a, like, I wish the trucks, when you start them up, they're huge trucks that we drive. So they're so
Yeah.
loud, but I want to
Right.
record an episode in one of the trucks because it's literally just a big truck full of
Yeah.
freaking tools and toolboxes. It's pretty
Oh, the
awesome.
testosterone that's flowing in that truck, right?
Oh, it's like candy for these grown men. Like they come out and they get the, you know, we're like drug dealers. We front them
Right.
their drugs. They don't have to pay for them all at once, and they make weekly payments on them. You
Do
know?
they make little like guttural sounds like
Oh my god, we
like
literally
that?
yeah. We've got us
It's
one of the guys
exciting.
who does custom printwear. Shout out to Daniel Pozo, Southwest Print Kings. There's some free advertisement for you.
Yeah.
He did these little prints that we put on the staircase. And after the second set of stairs, it's just 2 steps to get on the truck. And it says,
Right.
after this step, it's consensual. Because a lot of guys are always making jokes about, oh, you're raping us with the price. So it's like, you put on the truck and you agree to the price. So that was my boss's idea. And I thought that was super funny. That's pretty,
I love it. I love
and that's
it.
later. Like me, when
Yeah.
I'm on there, I'm just trying to always have such a light mood. And I talk to these guys like how I used to bartend and how I'm talking to you. Like, just make it light, have fun. You know what I mean?
Well, like you sound like you'd be very fun to work with.
Hell yeah. Well, I appreciate
Yeah.
that. And
Well,
you know,
yeah,
like
you got to
said,
have a good time, right?
it's a
Gotta have-
stressful job mentally. And I just now, ever since I've been doing this, like, it's such, other than this and jujitsu, like I get to come home and do one of those 2 things. And it's such an amazing release for me. And I'm like, after I get done with you, after I get done interviews, like I just smile and have such an amazing euphoric feeling. And it's like,
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
finally, like, I'm not acting like this is ever going to be like a career for me. I mean, obviously I would hope, but I'm like,
Yeah.
this is something I feel so passionate about. And you can just tell when you're doing something that makes you that happy. I was like, wow, this finally clicked, you know, because
Yeah.
I'm someone who always struggled with that career identity. And I grew up with a ton of kids who they did a 4-year college. They went in, got the jobs right away. My sister, who's like one of my best friends, she went 4-year school, 4 years of medical school, residency. Now she's doing periodontal surgery. So I'm surrounded by all
wow.
these hardworking, successful aspirational people, and then I've just never really been able to pinpoint my road. So yeah, that's definitely
podcasting is a very wonderful thing to do because
an outlet.
You can, and you can the just the different type of positive people that you meet while you're doing it. It's just amazing. People you would never meet in your real life.
No, like I went on that Reddit thing, at first I went on there just trying to ask little advice here and there. And then I posted something in just podcasts about looking for guests. And then they redirected me to whatever that one's called, like
Podcast Guest Exchange.
Perfect. Shout out to them. And I've gotten some really awesome responses from different people. And I just today, I interviewed a gentleman from London that I'm going to be releasing in a few weeks. And like,
that's awesome.
He's a 20-year-old kid. He makes music, like talking to you. This is just so awesome. And like a year, 2 years ago, I was terrified to go on FaceTime, Zoom, even with cousins, family members, let alone hearing my own voice. And like, I'm not tooting my own horn, but the fact that I'm just doing this and finally took a leap, I'm just really happy, and getting to talk to people like you. Awesome. I'm so grateful for, honestly, you took a risk. You don't know anything about me. You jumped on here and we're more than willing to communicate and work out the time zone differences. So, well,
I enjoyed listening. I listened to your podcast. Maybe I've listened to a couple of episodes of them.
Like, you don't, I enjoy it. I would never imagine like someone living here in Seattle, right? Is that what you said?
Well, Bellingham, which is north of
Washington
Seattle.
State. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Right. So like, I would never imagine someone like you listening to this only within a month or two of me doing it. Like it's right. I'm like, I try to be humble, like just one person, and it's incredible. And then hopefully, someone that might listen, and that's like, it's incredible.
Right. It's amazing. It's amazing. Like, you see, I have a podcast too, although I'm changing my podcast.
I was just going to get to that next. Perfect.
Yeah. Well, and it's amazing to look at the stats and find out, well, somebody in like Russia just listened to it, or somebody in,
isn't it?
It's really somebody in like, we have one in
Belarus, Hungary.
Yeah. Everywhere.
And it's just international, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. And it's pretty amazing that somebody would look it up and listen to it.
Now, when was the genesis of your podcast, and what was the one that you originally started? What was kind of the theme of that?
Well, you see, I have basically done Brendan Fraser podcasts is basically it. Have you heard of the guy?
I've heard of him. I didn't know he had a podcast, but
no, he doesn't have a podcast.
Let's talk some money.
Yeah. Well, there is this one movie that is like the most romantic movie that ever existed. And it was in the 90s. It's called Still Breathing. You haven't heard of it though.
Encino Man. Come on.
No, I don't like that one. Story. I don't like that one. I like if you type in YouTube, if you go into YouTube and you type in Still Breathing 9 out of 10, and you go to the 11-minute, 15-second mark.
Wow.
Pure
romantic
crack. The most pure romantic crack you've ever seen in your life.
Was it Brendan Fraser and another dude, or what was it?
Oh no, it was Brendan Fraser and his girlfriend that he's convincing not to leave.
Oh yeah.
But the way he convinces her, and that he had a vision about her, and that he can see the person that she really is, not this person that she's pretending to be, because she actually came to rob him of his money, to steal his money.
Okay.
But he says, I can see who you really are, not this person that you're pretending to be because things have gone wrong in your life. And the romance was like, the romance from that scene drips off. Wow. It just drips and drips and drips. Okay. I've watched that scene about 300 and some times.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
We need to get you some VIP tickets to meet Brendan Fraser.
I've already talked to him.
Brendan, if you're listening.
On a chat. You know how you can talk to celebrities on chat by spending a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
Too much money though. Too much money.
How much we talking, Frannie? How much we forking up to talk to Brendan Fraser?
Why don't you guess? It was 10 minutes. Guess how much? Guess how much? Yeah, it was
10 grand.
No, $1,500.
That's okay. Well, I was thinking way a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
a lot of money.
10 minutes.
10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Was it a FaceTime or just like a chat room?
It was a FaceTime, and you see, what I did was I had memorized. It's kind of like Cameo. It's GalaxyCon. Okay. GalaxyCon. It's kind of like Cameo.
Man, Brendan Fraser.
Cameo does them too.
Huh? He went from the Mummy to GalaxyCon. Damn, Brendan. No,
poor Brendan. Poor Brendan.
I'm just fine.
No, he's doing well. He's doing well. He's doing well. I know.
You get $1,500 to fucking talk to someone for 10 minutes. You're doing well.
Well, I shouldn't have spent $1,500 to talk to somebody for 10 minutes. Okay.
Buyer's remorse, huh?
Well, no. It's just what ended up happening was I studied that scene that I told you about. If you go to, Still Breathing,
Frannie
9 out of 10. And I memorized that scene, and I was going to have an acting competition. I was going to do an acting competition with a friend of mine in which I was going to play Brendan, and I was going to convince my friend not to leave, and using the exact same scene, right?
Same dialogue, everything.
Same dialogue. And I studied it for hours. I studied the scene for hours. And I even had my bed, I even turned my room into the same room as what in the movie, pretty much. And then I even had, because he follows her out into the yard. And so I had my little yard set up and everything. Okay.
Frannie got some money, huh?
No. This was all free. All this involved was me taking off my pug bedspread and changing the room around a little bit. So anyway, I was all set to do it, but my friend bailed on me. She said I was putting too much pressure on her, and she was afraid.
To memorize the dialogue on the other end?
I was just going to have her read it. I was the one who was memorizing it. I was just going to have her read it.
Were you going to get the whole camera focus, or was it going to?
It was going to be on their, have somebody's cell phone video it.
Was it focusing just on you? Like, I don't want to watch some dumb bozo reading off of script. No, I'm just fine.
No. It's going to focus mostly on me.
Yeah. We want the star. Yeah.
But what happened was my friend bailed on me because she said it was too much pressure for her. Okay. Yeah.
You sound
she didn't want to do it.
Kind of passionate about it. So I can maybe see where she, you know what I mean? It's,
too much pressure.
Live up to your, no, but see, like, if you're that into it and that, you know what I mean?
Right.
She probably doesn't feel like she could ever match that. And she's probably like, hey, this is a little disheartening.
Right. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that my thing?
We good. That's no problem.
Oh, I hate to make you have to do more editing. As long as you don't lose
your train of thought. Don't let that pug distract you.
Okay. He's like, I don't know where he went to, but
no, we can go in any direction, so don't ever worry about it.
Okay. So what happened was that my
still using AOL.com as a email, everyone.
I know.
That's
that was from like 93 or something, or the early 90s.
He hasn't changed her email address since she went to the hotel and
I know. No, I had that like way before then.
I was gonna say, when he said 93, I'm like, I was already going with the joke, so I couldn't stop.
I know. I love it though. But so anyway, what ended up happening was I have another friend that was working as a pharmacist at Walmart in Oak Harbor.
You know a lot of drug dealers, huh?
Yeah, I know a lot of drug dealers. And so what I did was I was going to do half of the Brendan Fraser chat at the subway at Walmart. And then I was going to walk my phone over to the pharmacy department and have him talk to her. And so the first half of the chat went well. And I even had like a thing where I was going to call my dog walking customer. And so my dog walking customer could say hi to him too. Anyway,
he would have to throw you some money for that. Come on.
I think he got pissed off at me, to be honest with you, because there were too many moving parts in this whole thing.
Well, you're kind of like me, right? A little bit. I don't want to call it scatterbrain because that's not an insult to me, and I wouldn't call it to you. It's just like the way our brains and
it's just all over the place, right?
Celebrities are probably like just ask me about my movies.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, he seemed after a while to get a little pissed off with me.
Well,
I can understand.
He was the star of the movie that The Rock was in with him, and then you see what The Rock becomes. Wouldn't you be a little bitter?
I would have been better too. So, and anyway, also when I was walking across Walmart, it was the period of time in which you didn't have to wear a mask if you were double vaccinated. This is in 2021, right? But, he was upset that I wasn't wearing a mask a little bit.
On FaceTime?
Yeah, because it sets a bad example because,
Brendan, I don't want to get into the whole mask shit, but you're on FaceTime and you're spending that kind of money to talk to him and he's going to do that.
Well, he didn't
Brendan
really.
Fraser. He
just questioned. No, but he just questioned me about it. And
why aren't you wearing a mask in a room by yourself over an?
No. I was walking through Walmart. I was actually in the physical Walmart.
Okay. I thought you were in a room, but I'm like, but still,
No, I know. But like, he didn't yell at me, but he was like, where's your mask?
He's playing that moral high ground. Yeah.
Well, anybody who I won't ask you about your politics or anything but
everybody who knows me and listens to this pretty much knows, we don't need to get into a whole debate. I still have so many friends that I grew up in New Jersey. Most of all my friends I grew up with are on the left-hand side. I just happened to be one of the kids that was raised. My dad was a Republican. You kind of grow up, and I was raised Republican. And the more I grow up, like I have some views that I agree with on the left, but I'm definitely a Republican, and I was very anti-vaccine and anti-mask. But I'm not. It's just like I'm not here to argue.
Pretty much every celebrity though is left.
Oh, I
think
for sure.
Right. Yeah. So I think that was the issue, right? Is that he was like a little bit flabbergasted that I was doing that. But the thing is I was double vaccinated, and you didn't at that time. Walmart wasn't requiring you to do that. And I was just walking. Right. So anyway, and then I got to my friend, and my friend was giving all these people COVID shots, and there was no way I could pass the phone over anyway. And
wow, this is a clusterfuck.
It is a clusterfuck, right? So what?
Wait. My friend right here, she's giving a ton of vaccines out. Do you want to talk to her real quick?
I would have had to push over one of those seniors who was giving a vaccine in order to handle the phone. So he was just like, I was getting all upset, and he was just like, breathe. And I felt like such an idiot afterwards. Plus I lost control. That's such
bullshit though. You're here as a big fan, paying money to talk to someone. He makes you feel like that. That pisses me off. Honestly.
Well, and also I lost control over my phone, and my phone, I accidentally just started like smacking it against my jeans. And
this girl have Tourette's? What the fuck's going on here?
I don't know what happened. I was just like, I lost my mind. I think what it is that I reverted into like a 13-year-old girl. And I was like, I'm so excited. You know,
we all have that in us. Like when one of the first couple months I started training jiu-jitsu, I met who now, to this day, I consider a very good friend, who's a guy who's in the UFC. But when I would first be around him, I literally couldn't form sentences. Like I was just so starstruck and fanboyed out. And I'm like, I would go up to him and as the more I got to know him, yo, can I have, he gave me this hat, and I'm like, can I have a pair of your socks? Can I have one of your rash guards? And we all have, I don't care what anybody says, we all have a little bit of that fanboy in us. And I'm trying to eventually get him on here and have more, if I can ever pray to God, get more MMA fighters on here. That would be a dream come true. But it's hard to not think I'm going to be stuttering and losing my thoughts when I'm talking to them because, but then again, I have millions of thoughts. So I'm like, I don't think there can be any kind of pause. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So if I saw an MMA, first of all, I would never recognize a single MMA. Yeah. But I would respect them because I'd be like, please don't beat me up.
Well, and that's the thing. There's such a misconception out there about he is one of the most deadly train killers ever. He's got 6 kids. He goes around. He's the nicest, most down to earth, the opposite of fucking stupid Brendan Fraser. He's all the new kids that come in when he's in the UFC, but he'll come to my jiu-jitsu gym and train with all guys that are brand new, teach them techniques, talk to them. And I'm like, he never let the fame get to his head. He's level-headed. He's cool. Yeah. I'm like, I don't understand when you're a celebrity,
I think I might have confused the hell out of Brendan Fraser. I think I confused the hell out of
Frannie, him. If you're paying that kind of money, isn't it kind of your 10 minutes to have and do what, that's the way I interpret it. You pay the money. If you want to talk about fucking COVID shots running through subways and Walmarts, do it. And then he's sitting there dictating and telling you, I don't know.
It's
but then again, he's you can say he's doing well, and I'm not hating. He's than I'll ever be, but he is on GalaxyCon collecting money for paid appearances when The Rock is making Fast and the Furious 29.
Well, but that you haven't seen the movie Still Breathing, because your tune will change if you saw that movie.
You know,
and you went to the 11-minute, 15-second
You send me that link afterwards, and I will watch it. I don't know if I'll watch the whole goddamn thing, but you send that little part, I'll check it out.
The little part, right? Yeah,
I'm all about looking at new things and checking it out.
Then all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, Brendan.
Yeah.
Brendan. Oh, wow. Even though you're probably a straight guy, you would still be like, oh, Brendan. Oh, Brendan.
If it's going to be a guy to make me feel like that, I don't think it's going to be Brendan Fraser. I don't want to crush your bubble, but he's, I don't know.
All right. All Brendan Fraser fans, do not listen to this podcast. All Brendan Fraser fans.
I mean, I'm not trashing him. I just think if you're going to pay that kind of money to support the guy and be a fan, and you were just naturally nervous and a little high strung.
I was a little stupid. but sometimes people get stupid. People have stupid ideas, right? Stupid ideas, right?
I mean, I guess you're just trying to have a conversation with someone that you really like, and did you tell him how many times you watched that goddamn scene?
Yeah.
Was he just
that was the fun. Oh, thank you.
He should have been like, do you want to improv right now?
Yeah. Let me pretend that I'm the girl, why don't you be the girl? I'll be the guy.
Role reversal. Let me show you how well I memorize your lines, dude.
Yeah.
So, it's
So I'm moving off. I'm moving off of my Brendan Fraser review podcast because that's what I've been doing for the last year. But I have been reviewing other movies too. But a lot of
so it's like a movie review. It was.
It was.
Okay.
And the thing is that I'm off of that. I don't like it was called my podcast. Actually, it still is called Happy Fangirl.
Okay.
But I have come to the realization that I am no longer a happy fangirl because I'm not a fan of anything right now because I'm tired of movies.
Okay. What about
TV? Tired of all of that stuff. Yeah. I only like slasher movies now.
What about books
and like stand-up and I'm interested in stand-up comedy too, so that's what I'm interested in. So I've been taking a course on that, and so I can't, you see, I had some ladies that I was doing the podcast, they were coming on and talking about the movies and all this kind of thing, and they're big fans of all of these fandoms, and I was just like, I'm sorry, I'm just like, I've lost it. I don't have the passion. I don't have the passion. For sure. And also it was also talking a lot about conventions, like Comic-Cons and stuff like that. And now I'm like, oh, I think they kind of suck now. Like I just had that realization. I was really into them before. I never went to one, but I was really excited about it. But then I'm like, I'm not interested in that. I just want to talk about stand-up comedy kind of stuff. Like I want to have like stand-up comedians on, and awesome. You've never tried that, right?
No, but
you would be good at it.
No, it's something, trust me, it's like one of my biggest goals in life is just to try and open mic one night, but I am terrified. But I'm thinking this is going to get me, like, now when I'm driving around, I'm taking notes of what I think's funny, and I want to try to develop some kind of joke writing. So if you don't mind me asking, like, if you ever start with that podcast, I would love to come on and just kind of speak about
that would be so awesome.
My intentions of wanting to try comedy and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of asked me questions. I think I would do that, and I would love that. So
yeah, well, it would be so wonderful if you tried it and then came on the podcast and talked about it.
It's gonna take a lot of courage.
No, you could do it. All you have to do is smoke a joint before, because you have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And
and I'm not like scared of bombing, because I bomb all the time. Like I make jokes all day and people don't laugh at them. So I'm like, you know what I mean? But I kind of want to say, because I really would look forward to coming on yours, but we're only about a minute and 20 seconds left here. And I hate getting cut off when the guests, because I haven't upgraded yet. So I'm only doing 40 minutes. So if there's anything you kind of want to say before I do a little outro, please have this time. And
I really love your podcast. Man. And I'm glad I'm not one of those flaker people that you have been getting some flakers. So I'm glad that Frannie, not a flaker.
Frannie and Frank did some magical things, and I'm just so grateful. And do you have any certain time that you're looking to start that? Have you already started that show?
I have already recorded one episode of it, but I haven't edited or released it yet.
Okay, so where can we expect to find that when it comes out?
Well, if you look right now at the Happy Fangirl podcast, I'm going to keep the same RSS feed, and I'm just going to change the name of it.
Change the name.
And the name and the art.
Okay, so like Apple, Spotify, that kind of stuff.
Everywhere you find podcasts.
Awesome.
Happy Fangirl.
Happy Fangirl.
Yes.
All right, guys. So if you like this conversation, please go check Frannie out. She's been super supportive of me. So if you like me, checking her out would be awesome. Thank you again, Frannie, so much. It's been awesome.
Thank you, Frank.
I look forward to doing this again. And thank you guys all for listening. This was awesome.
All right. Thank you. Thank you
so much for being persistent and following up. I love it.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. And I'm glad I didn't flake out on you, because I did flake out on somebody else, because I was going to do a creative writing podcast in which we were both going to write a story. Yep. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I can't write a story.